Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're looking at the most recent track DOGMA by the American metalcore band Crown the Empire. This song will be the title track for the upcoming album, and interestingly enough they've been releasing songs as singles from this album since 2021. We've already had a chance to hear songs such as In Another Life, Dancing with the Dead and Immortalize, and now with this having the title track of the album, I'd imagine that this will be the last one released before the actual album does arrive at the end of April. And for those of you wondering what DOGMA actually does mean, it is a fixed, especially religious quite often, belief or a set of beliefs that are expected to be accepted without any doubts. They're not designed to be questioned, so certainly we're going to see probably a lot of religious elements on this track. So will this track make us believers, or will it just simply run out of faith? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
Who's to blame? When saints turn to sinners and angels become astray, when the righteous and preachers determine who wins this race. Hold me, I'm lost in the ocean. Tell me that it's all no kind. Push my head under the water. I pray that your God knows who to save.
Okay, I really like a couple of things that we've got going on in the start of this track. First of all, these very inquisitive lyrics, and what you'll actually see is Andy Leo very subtly raising his voice at the end of those first few lyrics just to really make it into a question. It's something that's commonly used in language, and I like that because this song is all about accepting things without question, effectively dogma, and it's him questioning that. So I've already we've got this tying straight to the title, and he's kind of going against that, asking when saints turn to sinners. So I love the religious ties we've got as well, this idea of becoming astray. So this idea of good people turning bad and then being led astray, but there's somebody leading them astray. So we haven't worked out who that is yet, and when the righteous and preachers determine who wins the race. So this idea of only certain people should decide what's right and what's wrong. So again, tying in that idea of beliefs and questioning it. And we've also got a couple of lyrics that really do tie in that idea as well. This idea of push my head under the water, this idea of baptism, so many of the stories with Jesus kind of baptizing people at the lake and doing things like that, or being baptized, I believe it was. And also that idea tying it in with the ocean as well, really simple to do when you've got water. It's one of the best things you can possibly do, and it's really easy to make those links. And I pray that your God knows who to save. So it's this idea of one person deciding who gets saved effectively, kind of who's left to kind of rot at the wayside and who gets to prosper almost.
Who's to blame? When shackles and bloodstains are painted inside our brains, when disciples and leaders condemn us to hide in shame, when the cycle repeats and we're forced to dig our own grave. You say you look away while you bathe in your greed. You say we must obey your laws and dogma. You wanna show your face, I'll let you swallow me and take you crumbling to the bottom.
Okay, I really like the drop that we have got here, and a couple of other elements we've really got. I loved how the drums picked up from Jeeves, and it really added some strong pacing to the chorus. It really just kind of came in like this burst of energy, which was really great to see. And also I love the actual backing vocals, really bringing those slightly heavier screams just in the background, really just adding to the chorus as well. So really you get this switch up in energy, and also some of the lyrics that we have got being brought in. This idea of shackles and bloodstains. This definitely feels like it has a bigger application in the form of government and how they control what the world actually does and what people do. This idea of disciples and leaders condemn us to hide in shame. So this idea of being controlled by something, it's something that we've often seen throughout music over the past number of years. So it's certainly great that they're using this religious idea to tie in that idea of we should accept the rules even if they're not always correct. And this cycle that we're constantly going through causes us to effectively dig our own grave. So the bloodstains and shackles could relate to things such as war, and this idea of hiding in shame is kind of living in fear or living in in poverty, different things like that, where we have to effectively be shameful because we can't live or can't afford to live.
Lost in the
love with the chorus some of these ideas that we've got, while you bathe in your greed. So certainly we're seeing this idea again of corruption, certainly people that just kind of, the rich almost kind of poisoning the poor or something like that. So there's lots of things that can tie with a lot of religious stories, but again has that real world application. And this idea of looking away while you bathe in your greed, kind of just ignore the kind of elephant in the room, and you say we must obey. So this idea of kind of people forcing our actions, forcing our hand, and this, they're using faith really quite strongly to show this idea as well. It's almost like a lot of people can understand religion and how it works, and sometimes you do have those almost religious cults where they have this one leader that they completely follow without shadow of a doubt. And although you can have people that often question that, it's very hard for them to break away from that, because you've got this one person almost controlling everything, and the same applies to the real world as well. And I really like the lyrics at the end of the chorus as well. I'll let you swallow me and take you crumbling down to the bottom. So it's this idea of, I'll absorb all your lies and I will use them to bring you down. I will effectively crumble this system, which is almost this idea that we see in a lot of different books and movies as well, this dystopian idea that is really being pushed forward in this track. Well, that certainly was a very interesting ending. I like how they built it up towards the end of the track. We did also get a couple of last minute lyrics really thrown in, this idea of lay your faith to waste. So almost break the system, really just kind of throw your faith to one side and really start to challenge things. So I like that we've got two possible meanings. I like they've really used this religious idea to pull in and really strengthen some of the ideas they're really trying to convey on this actual track. It's one of those tracks that really just kind of wants to hammer home that message through that idea of religion, really pushing the idea of leaders being almost corruptive, and despite the fact that you should really just kind of go along with everything that they do say. So I really liked the way that they actually did that. I loved the religious ties they really used to force this narrative, even though it can have more global application to the idea of governments and leaders being almost corrupted maybe by money or something like that. So we've got a lot of lyrics that really did help to bring in that idea. I also liked a lot of the layering of the vocals, really having those harsher screams. I did thought it was quite a light song for Crown the Empire, really, until we did get some of those heavier screams coming in. And I liked in the chorus as well how much more melodic the song actually became. When them drums really kicked in, it really had a much stronger pacing to it, and then we went back to some of those kind of heavier elements at the end of the track. And the song really did follow in the footsteps of other forms of media, such as 1984 by George Orwell, and really kind of conveying this idea of maybe not this dystopian future, maybe this present time that we are living in, where leaders, religious, whether they be religious, governments, or anybody that's controlling people, you could apply it to somebody at work, your boss, if they're controlling and manipulative, really bringing everybody else under them down. So really strong song in terms of its applicability to pretty much everybody, because I'm sure most people have been in that situation before. I didn't feel it was one of the strongest Crown the Empire tracks, but just nice that giving us another track before we do get to hear the album in April. So that will be everything for today's video, but please do feel free to let me know what your thoughts about this track in the comments section below. Do you love the religious ties? Do you feel like it's one of Crown the Empire's stronger works, or do you think the other tracks from the album have been slightly stronger? Would love to hear your thoughts. And as always, if you want to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.